The Galactic Council's decree had been clear. Humanity would never be permitted to construct military vessels. The reasoning was simple according to the elder species. Humans were too unpredictable, too aggressive, too creative in their application of violence. Better to keep them confined to exploration vessels and merchant ships, protected by the Council's own fleets. Kiza had laughed when she first heard the ruling. She stood in the observation deck of the Prometheus station, watching supply shuttles drift past like metallic fireflies against the void. Her dark eyes reflected the distant stars, and in them burned something the Council had failed to recognize: defiance. "They actually think we'll just accept this," she muttered, running her fingers through her short black hair. Nick approached from behind, his footsteps deliberately loud on the metal flooring. He knew better than to startle an engineer deep in thought. The Council's been clear about the consequences. If we're caught building anything that even resembles a warship, they'll quarantine Earth for a century. Then we won't get caught. Kiza turned to face him, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "And we won't build a warship." Nick raised an eyebrow. He'd worked with Kiza long enough to recognize that particular expression. It meant she'd found a loophole, and loopholes were humanity's specialty. "I'm listening. We'll build a mining vessel, the biggest, most over-engineered mining vessel the galaxy has ever seen. Over the next 18 months, construction began on the Earthbreaker, ostensibly designed to harvest resources from asteroid fields in the outer colonies. The Council's inspectors approved every schematic, nodding their various heads and appendages at the massive drilling arrays, the reinforced hull plating necessary for navigating debris fields, and the powerful engines required to haul ore. What they failed to notice, or perhaps chose to ignore, were the peculiar specifications. The drilling arrays that could rotate 360 degrees. The ore processing chambers that bore a suspicious resemblance to railgun acceleration tubes. The radiation shielding that seemed excessive even by human safety standards. Kiza supervised every weld, every circuit, every line of code. She worked 20-hour days, sleeping in her office aboard the station, surviving on coffee and spite. Nick managed the official documentation, ensuring every component had a civilian designation, every weapon system disguised as mining equipment. "The Vorthak won't be fooled," Nick said one evening, reviewing the latest Council intelligence reports. The Vorthak were raiders, a species that had terrorized the outer colonies for decades. The Council's response had been diplomatic protests and strongly worded letters. "The Vorthak won't need to be fooled," Kiza replied, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. "They just need to be stopped." The Earthbreaker launched on schedule, its maiden voyage a routine mining operation in the Kepler belt. The crew of 200 were all volunteers, all human, all fully aware of what they were really flying. The Vorthak attack came 3 weeks later. 6 raider ships descended on a colony transport, their weapons hot, their intentions clear. The transport's distress signal reached the Earthbreaker within minutes. Kiza stood on the bridge, Nick beside her. The Council fleet was 14 hours away. The colonists had perhaps 20 minutes. "Captain?" The weapons officer, officially the mining operations specialist, looked at Kiza expectantly. She took a breath. This was it, the moment that would either vindicate humanity or condemn them, show them what a mining ship can do. All drilling arrays to combat configuration, ore processors to firing mode. Let's mine some raiders. The Earthbreaker cut through space like a predator. The Vorthak barely had time to register the massive vessel before the first drilling array opened fire. Tungsten rods, accelerated to relativistic speeds, tore through raider hulls like paper. The ore processors launched magnetically accelerated projectiles that detonated with precise fury. It was over in 4 minutes. 6 Vorthak ships reduced to expanding clouds of debris. The colony transport was untouched. The Council's response was immediate. The Earthbreaker was ordered to return to Council space for inspection. Charges were prepared. Sanctions discussed. Kiza and Nick stood before the Council 3 days later, broadcast live across every human colony and a dozen alien worlds. "You violated the treaty," the Council speaker intoned, its translucent form pulsing with indignation. "You built a warship in direct defiance of our decree." "We built a mining vessel," Kiza said calmly, "one that successfully defended innocent civilians when your fleets were nowhere to be found." "Semantics. You weaponized civilian technology. We optimized our tools." Nick stepped forward. "The Council told us we couldn't defend ourselves. You didn't say we couldn't be creative? The chamber erupted in argument. Half the species present demanded humanity's expulsion. The other half, many of whom had colonies in raider-threatened space, remained notably silent. The council speaker raised a crystalline appendage for silence. The treaty was clear. Then rewrite the treaty, Kiza said, her voice carrying across the chamber. Because we're not going back. Every human colony, every human station, every human ship in the void just learned something today. We learned that when you tell us we can't do something, we find a way to do it anyway. That's not a bug in human nature, it's a feature. She gestured to the holographic display showing footage of the rescued colonists. Those people are alive because we didn't accept your limitations. How many more need to die before you realize that humans don't ask permission to survive? The vote took 3 hours. When it concluded, the treaty was amended. Humanity would be permitted to construct defensive vessels subject to council oversight. It wasn't everything, but it was a start. As they left the council chambers, Nick turned to Kiza. They're going to watch us even more closely now. Kiza grinned. That same dangerous expression from 18 months ago. Good. Let them watch us build a fleet. Behind them, the Earthbreaker hung in orbit, its drilling arrays dormant, its ore processors cool. But in shipyards across human space, new vessels were already being designed. Mining ships, salvage vessels, deep space explorers. The galaxy had warned humanity not to build warships. Humanity had listened carefully to every word. And then, as always, found another way.